Good evening, students. So, how are you guys? Students, in our last lecture, we had studied about audit strategy and audit plan. We had also discussed why planning an audit is important because planning an audit provides various benefits. We had also discussed those benefits. We had also discussed what are the factors which have to be kept in mind by the auditor while establishing overall audit strategy. And we had also seen what does an audit plan include. So the audit plan includes risk assessment procedures, planned risk assessment procedures, and other procedures to be uh, to be performed by the auditor during the course of audit. Okay, guys. So, students, now we come to the question. As you have already understood, whose responsibility is it to prepare audit strategy and audit plan? Yes, guys, tell me whose responsibility it is to establish audit strategy and audit plan. Yes. Whose responsibility? Yes. All of you are writing auditor. Definitely auditor. Now, auditor has to establish audit strategy and audit plan. But here comes an important question. Can an auditor discuss audit strategy and audit plan with the management? What should be your answer, guys? What should be your answer? Should audit strategy and audit plan be discussed by the auditor with the management? If it is so, why? And if it is not so, then why? Now you are writing no, no, no. Jyoti is writing yes, something. Now, students, you have to understand that uh, that some elements of planning may be discussed by the auditor with the management. Now, what is the reason behind it? Now, the reason behind it is that simply if the it would help the auditor in carrying out um, audit process in a more fruitful way, because unless and until the auditor discusses the broad points what he plans to do, and he will not be in a position to prepare an effective plan. But students, remember that an auditor should not discuss all the elements of his planning with the management. He has not to compromise on the effectiveness of auditor. Like suppose he is to carry out some planned procedures at a particular day and time. Suppose he discloses those procedures to the management that he is going to perform these procedures at some day and time, then relevance of those procedures might be lost, because the auditor, by performing those procedures, he would be trying to gain satisfaction in the form of some evidence. So if he has already disclosed to the management that he plans to do such thing on such day, then the auditor may not get desired result, and in the process he may compromise on the effectiveness of audit. So there is no straight answer to this question. Yes, he can discuss some elements of his planning with the management, but he has to take care to see that he does not compromise on the effectiveness of audit, because he has to express the opinion. Remember, guys, I had told you in last lecture that ultimate objective of an independent auditor is to express an opinion. So if the auditor discloses to the client, to the management, something which is part of audit procedures, which ultimately affects his opinion on the financial statements, then it is going to compromise the effectiveness of audit. Okay, so that is very important, guys. You have to remember. So the basic funda, the basic logic, the basic purpose of discussing some elements of planning with the management by itself, its purpose is to carry out the audit with the proper cooperation from the management in a suitable and effective way. Okay, guys, is that clear to you? Tell me, guys, is it clear to you? Tanisha Agarwal, you are saying which elements? Now, which elements? It depends upon the judgment of auditors. Elements means whatever plan he has prepared, what points he has not to discuss with the management specific points, but he can discuss the things generally, like the audit would proceed in this way, and we will be testing your internal control with regard to say purchases and this purchases and say fixed assets, but he should not disclose what type of checking he would be undertaking, or at what day, at what time he would be undertaking those detailed checkings. Okay, is that clear to you, Tanisha? Tanisha, is that clear to you? Yes, and Ramachandra R. Koper, he is asking that in inherent limitations of audit in chapter 1, it is stated that audit is not an investigation, whereas as per SA 315, the auditor has to identify and assess the risk of material misstatement. So he is saying both things are contradicting each other. No, Ramachandra, I think you are understanding it wrongly. You have to understand two things. One is that definitely audit is not an investigation. Now, what is the difference between audit and investigation? The objective of an auditor is to express an opinion on financial statements. Again, the same line which I told you. So the auditor when auditor conducts the audit, he plans his audit and he performs the necessary audit procedures which are required in accordance with standards on auditing. And after application, after performing these audit procedures, he obtains evidence. And on the basis of that evidence, he arrives at some conclusions on the basis of which his opinion is formed. Now, during this process, uh, he might come to know some wrongdoing, but he does not start the audit with the objective of identifying those wrongdoings. He performs the procedures, but as part of performing the procedures, he might come to know about certain wrongdoings. Like while performing the audit procedures, while carrying out the audit in accordance with essays, in accordance with standards on auditing, he might detect fraud, okay, or he might detect some misstatements. But his objective was not, his primary objective was not to detect fraud. His primary objective is to give an opinion on the financial statements. Whereas what is investigation? Investigation starts from the basic point, from the basic premise that there is some wrongdoing, already some wrong has happened, and the investigation starts with this notion that some wrong has happened, and then evidence is collected to prove or disprove whether fraud is there. Then evidence is collected. At the beginning, there is the investigator starts his work from the beginning with the notion that some wrongdoing has already taken place. Now, at this stage, he would be obtaining evidence in support of that version. Okay. So the difference between audit and investigation is clear to you. Now you are saying that as per SA 315, auditor has to identify and assess the risk of material misstatement. Yes, because as a part of the audit exercise, first thing which the auditor has to do, he has to identify which are the areas of risk of where there is risk of material misstatement. So that what is the purpose of identifying these areas? Because if he identifies those areas where there is a greater possibility of material misstatements, then his audit procedures can be geared to those areas. So it is part of the audit procedures. It is part of the audit exercise to identify and assess the areas where misstatements could be there, where there is a possibility of misstatements in the financial statements. It is part of overall audit exercise. Okay. So is it clear to you, Ramchandra? It has nothing to do with the investigation. Just because the auditor identifies areas where risk of material misstatement could be there, it doesn't mean that he is carrying out investigation. It is part of his part of audit exercise, part of audit process to carry out those procedures. Yes, Ramachandra, please tell me. If it is clear to you, Ramachandra, yes, tell me so that we can move further. Yes, he is saying it is clear. And Mohsin, you are asking that when an auditor will arrive for auditing, doesn't the client know? Yes, client knows in advance. Mohsin, you have to understand. In fact, it is the client, it is the management who appoints the auditor. So it is a fairly well established audit process that audit is going to take place every year. So it is not that auditor that the company or the concern they are not aware of the audit, and auditor will come day on a surprise basis. Although the auditor carries out some of his audit procedures on a surprise basis, some of the audit procedures. Okay. Yes, Muhammad Aslam, you are saying please revise the previous class. Muhammad, it seems that you had not attended the previous class. So it is not possible to revise the entire lecture, because you see that um, there are specific time slots allotted for the for a chapter, and chapter has to be finished in those time slots. Okay. Yes, Abdul, all these questions you are asking relate to company law, and you would be studying when you would be attending your company law classes. Okay. So I am not taking those questions which are not directly related to audit. Okay, guys. So is that clear? So what is there in your module? The auditor may decide to discuss elements of planning with the entity's management to facilitate the conduct and management of audit engagement. Example, to coordinate some of the planned audit procedures with the work of entities personnel, because you see that auditor has to get the information from the staff of the company. So unless the staff of company cooperates with him, cooperates with the auditor, and provides in the documents, provides in the basic information which he is requiring, then audit cannot be proceeded with. So therefore it is important. And the very important thing, although these discussions often occur, the overall audit strategy and audit plan remain the auditor's responsibility. So auditor को, friends, you have to understand कि ऑडिटर को ओपिनियन एक्सप्रेस करना है फाइनेंशियल स्टेटमेंट्स के ऊपर. सो ऑडिट स्ट्रेटजी और ऑडिट प्लान बनाना ऑडिटर की ही रिस्पॉन्सिबिलिटी है. अल्टीमेट रिस्पॉन्सिबिलिटी उसी की है. वो इसका कुछ पार्ट, प्लानिंग का कुछ पार्ट मैनेजमेंट के साथ डिस्कस कर सकता है, लेकिन वही पार्ट जिससे कि उसकी ऑडिट की इफेक्टिवनेस कम ना हो. ओके, क्लियर? Is that clear? So when discussing the matters included in overall audit strategy or audit plan, care is required in order not to compromise the effectiveness of audit. So that is very important. He has not to compromise. He has not to disclose anything to the client by which effectiveness of the audit is compromised. Suppose मैं एक कंपनी का ऑडिटर हूं और मैं इंटरनल कंट्रोल कंपनी का टेस्ट करना मांगता हूं. आई वांट टू टेस्ट द इंटरनल कंट्रोल ऑफ द कंपनी. सपोज मैं उसके कंपनी के परचेज डिपार्टमेंट का जो हेड है और मैं परचेज का इंटरनल कंट्रोल चेक करना चाहता हूं, तो परचेज डिपार्टमेंट का जो हेड है उसी को मैं कह देता हूं कि आप ही बता दीजिए मेरे को कैसे चेक करना चाहिए. तो इज दैट feasible? Would that not compromise the effectiveness of audit? मैंने सब कुछ उसी पे छोड़ दिया. So what I am going to check? So this is not permissible. Okay. Okay, guys. So one example is given. जैसा कि as I have already told you, this example is on the similar lines. Now changes to planning decisions during the course of audit. So guys, we have already understood that auditor has to prepare an overall audit strategy and audit plan. So once he has prepared a broad audit strategy and audit plan containing description of risk assessment procedures and other planned procedures which he intends to carry out. So during the course of audit, if some information comes to his light, then he shall modify his plan. Okay, then he can modify his plan. He can also modify his strategy in view of the new information, new development which has come to his light. So you have to understand this, that the audit strategy and audit plan, these are not rigid. Guys, these are not rigid. एक फिक्स ढांचा नहीं है कि एक बार बन गया और उसके बाद कोई इंफॉर्मेशन या कोई डेवलपमेंट ऑडिटर को पता चलती है और वो तो कहेगा कि मैंने तो प्लान बना दी, मैं इसको रिवाइज नहीं कर पाऊंगा. ऐसा नहीं है. जैसे ही उसको कुछ डेवलपमेंट पता चलती है, कोई नई चीज पता चलती है, सो ऑडिटर कैन अपडेट ऑडिट स्ट्रेटेजी एंड ऑडिट प्लान. He will modify audit strategy and audit plan. Okay. Yes, these are flexible. Mariam, Tanzeem, you are saying definitely these are flexible. These are not rigid. Now, Abdul, you are saying it cannot become independent. I do not understand in what context you are saying it cannot become independent. What is the meaning of it? So the auditor shall update and change the overall audit strategy and audit plan as necessary during the course of audit. Look, as a result of some unexpected events or changes in conditions, or audit evidence obtained from the results. Say the auditor is in the middle of carrying out his audit. At the time of planning, at the time of devising the audit plan, he had planned some procedures. Then while obtaining evidence by performing those procedures, he comes to know some additional things. तो उसको लगता है कि मेरे को audit procedures ऐसे नहीं, इसमें ये भी इंक्लूड करना चाहिए था. ओके, सो देन ही विल modify his plan and the procedures to be adopted. Okay. Now, Ramachandra, you are saying that by discussing these things, audit plan with the management, isn't the auditor compromising with the effectiveness of audit? So, Ramachandra, as we proceed through the syllabus, I have already told you in the first lecture that as we move through, more clarity would be there. So these are still initial days. So you are still confused that by discussing something with management, the sanctity of audit process is lost. This is your concern, na? This is your concern that sanctity of audit process is lost if the auditor discusses something. Look, the audit is an institutionalized process. The management has appointed the auditor, the company has appointed the auditor. They already know that auditor has to express opinion on the financial statements every year, and they also know that generally these things are to be carried out by the auditor. But what are the but every year what specific procedures are to be carried out, keeping in view the contents of the financial statements, what new thing has happened in the business. Say the business might have launched some new product during the year, so definitely the audit procedures would be to the audit procedures to verify such things would not be there in the previous years. Okay, is that clear? And Sri Ram, you are asking whether notes should be prepared or just underline topics in textbook. It depends upon your individual choice, guys. But one thing I would like to make it clear that the module which you are reading, the whole paper comes from the study material provided by Board of Studies. It is only application of this study material or direct questions from the content of the study material which are being asked in your papers. So guys, do not waste your time on other sources or on different other materials. Just master the study material provided to you by the Board of Studies. You have to understand it and see how this is applied. You have to make your approach more application oriented. Okay, and whether you prepare short notes or remember, I think it depends upon person to person how one is comfortable. Okay, so there is no fixed formula here. Some students might remember the things from reading the module, but some might want to, if you have time, some might want to prepare the notes. Say if you are going to prepare the notes in a detailed manner, then obviously it may lead to duplication of work also. So you can prepare short points just for remembering, for quick revision. It would save your time also, and it would help you in making a quick revision. So this is my personal opinion. Rest, it depends from person to person. Yes, Dinyash, give example of unexpected events. You are saying give example of unexpected events. Unexpected events or changes in conditions. Say something. Say some abnormal event has happened during the year. Say devastating fire has happened. Okay, or say something when the auditor is conducting the audit after the balance sheet dates, something has happened which is affecting the assertions contained in the financial statement, which we call as subsequent events. Okay, so these events which have happened after the balance sheet date, but these might be affecting these might be affecting uh, assertions of the financial statements during the year under consideration. Okay, clear, guys? So, auditor may need to modify the overall audit strategy and audit plan. Okay, so clear. It is not fixed. It is quite flexible. Now we come to look the auditor. We had discussed while discussing audit plan and audit strategy that it is the responsibility of auditor. So the auditor has to ensure that the team which is performing the audit, the engagement team, the team which is performing audit, which consists of the partner, which consists of the staff, in the language of auditing we call it as engagement team. Okay, we call it as engagement team. Engagement team means engagement team which completes the engagement of audit. Say the client has appointed you, the company has appointed you. Now it is an example of engagement. Now engagement has to be performed by engagement team. Engagement team means the qualified chartered accountant, a team of persons consisting of chartered accountant, staff, article clerks, and such persons. Okay, so the nature, timing, and extent of direction and supervision of engagement team and review of their work will vary upon the on the following factors. So the say in case of a large company, in case of the audit of a big company, obviously there would be many issues, and since the whole financial statement process, financial reporting process is in case of large companies is going to be quite complex. So definitely the engagement team would need to be, the actions of the engagement team would need to be supervised by the in charge, by the principal closely. Okay, or say if at the beginning the while carrying out risk assessment procedures, it has been identified that there are many areas where there could be risks of material misstatement. So obviously then a tighter control over how the audit is going to be going to progress has to be exercised, isn't it? So it is very simple. It is very simple, yes. Muhammad Aslam, you have given quite a good example of unexpected events like a sudden discovery of fraud. Yes, if a fraud has been discovered, then obviously the auditor would be placing reliance on other things very very diligently. His confidence level is going to be shaken by discovery of fraud. Okay. The capabilities and competence of the individual team members. So how capable they are, कितना experience है जो लोग audit कर रहे हैं. अगर ज्यादा experience है, so then the concerned partner, he can rely upon his staff. अगर उनको experience कम है, तो he may choose not to rely. He might try to do many things himself. Okay. Like here some example is given. Say if uh, there is a company where there is inventory obsolescence is there. It means that the products which the company is dealing with, they get obsolete very rapidly. Okay, they get out of the market very rapidly. Okay, so in such a case, because it might be a complex matter, the senior partner, he would like to take part um, with the procedures in this regard, that what provision is to be required for this obsolescence, so that inventories are stated at their true value in the financial statements. So this topic means that how the auditor has to exercise control over his engagement team, what factors have to be considered by him while he is supervising work of his very own team, so that audit is carried out effectively, because ultimately it is the auditor who has to sign on the dotted line. It is the auditor who has to sign on the financial statements and on the audit report. He cannot say that मेरे assistant ने ये गलत कर दिया, उसने ये procedure ठीक नहीं किया. He has to, ultimate responsibility is of him. So he has to see that all the staff members, all the persons who are part of the engagement team, they are performing the work properly. They have the knowledge of the work to be performed, keeping in view the complexity of tasks to be performed, of checking to be done, or of other complex matters, and keeping in view the nature of business of the company. If the company is, say, is conducting operations from multiple locations, and it is involved in a lot of different product lines, then obviously the composition of engagement team has to be made keeping in view these factors, and accordingly the supervision of their work has to be carried out by the auditor. Okay guys, clear? Yes students, please let me know, is it clear? Now we come to next thing, that is documentation. So what is documentation? The auditor shall document. What is its meaning, guys? Can you tell me? Yes, can anybody tell what is the meaning of this line? The auditor shall document. Yes, waiting for your responses. Students, the auditor shall document the overall audit strategy, audit plan, and any significant changes made during the audit engagement to the overall audit strategy and reasons for such changes. Yes, only one mail has come from Abdul. The auditor shall document. What is its meaning? क्या आप में से कोई बता सकता है इसका मतलब क्या है? द ऑडिटर शैल डॉक्यूमेंट. यस. श्री राम, रामाचंद्रा, मुर्ताजा अली, एस अंसारी, all of you are stating correctly. The auditor shall document. It means that the auditor shall keep a record of it in writing. He shall document it in writing. Document, when we say you have to document it, it means that you have to write it. You have to write it for retrieval later on as a matter of record, so that you can show to somebody else that this thing was indeed documented. Okay, so this word is very important, and you would be learning more about audit documentation in chapter 3 in audit documentation and audit evidence. There is a complete chapter, and a small part of chapter 3 relates solely to audit documentation. Okay. So the auditor shall document the overall audit strategy, the audit plan, and any significant changes made during the audit engagement to overall audit strategy or audit plan, and reasons for such changes. Now, आपने students, you have prepared a strategy, you have prepared a plan, but unless and until it is not documented, unless and until it is not put into writing, it is just a mental plan, isn't it? It is just a mental plan. It is just in your imagination. So unless and until what you have by understanding the client's business, by gaining a knowledge of the client's business, and seeing what is the scope of the audit engagement, unless you prepare an audit strategy and audit plan in writing, it is of no use. Okay, so the audit strategy and audit plan has to be documented. And suppose as the audit progresses, as the auditor carries out his work, something comes to his light which requires modification in audit strategy and audit plan, then he shall also document changes to audit strategy and audit plan and reasons for such change. He shall also jot down what prompted him to change his audit strategy or audit plan. What new thing has come to his light due to which he was compelled to change his audit strategy or audit plan. Okay. Now, Muhammad, you are asking again relating to the part which we had done it in our previous lecture. What are included in audit strategy? So you can study it from your module. Audit strategy contains scope, timing, and direction of the procedure. Scope, timing, and direction. So the what is the scope of the audit engagement? Say if the engagement pertains to a company, then obviously the auditor has to provide his opinion, keeping in view the scope of his appointment under Companies Act. Okay, so he has to prepare his report keeping in view mandate given in Companies Act 2013. Okay, so these kind of things: scope, timing, and direction. So the documentation of audit strategy is a record of key decisions considered necessary to properly plan the audit. So as we had already understood, that audit strategy contains a record of some decisions which were necessary to plan the audit. Okay, so the auditor may summarize the audit strategy in the form of a memorandum which contains decision regarding scope, timing, and conduct of the audit. What is the scope, what is the timing, and how broad? What is strategy? Just a broad plan to achieve a desired outcome. Broad plan to achieve a desired outcome. Okay. And Pranav Vasishtha, audit documentation. Yes, Pranav, that is good. You have hit where it strikes. Audit documentation is proof that the auditor has done his work properly. Because if after completion of the audit, this is the importance of audit documentation. Say if after the completion of audits, the company alleges that auditor has not been able to detect some wrongdoing, some fraud, but if the auditor has maintained proper audit documentation, he can demonstrate, look, I have conducted my audit in accordance with standards on auditing. And these are the procedures which I have performed, and these are the procedures which are required to be performed in accordance with standards on auditing. So this can be a proof, this can be an evidence that audit was in fact carried out in accordance with standards on auditing. Okay. So the documentation of the audit plan is a record of plan nature, timing and extent of risk assessment procedures and further procedures. So सेम जो ऑडिट प्लान करती है उसी चीज की डॉक्यूमेंटेशन है, जो ऑडिट प्लान में इंक्लूड होना है उसी चीज का तो मैं लिख के रखूंगा अपने पास, उसी चीज का तो मैं ऑडिट फाइल में डॉक्यूमेंटेशन बना के लिख के रखूंगा कि ये मेरी ऑडिट डॉक्यूमेंटेशन, ये मेरी ऑडिट प्लान की डॉक्यूमेंटेशन थी. ओके, सो व्हाट इज इट्स बेनिफिट? It serves as a record of proper planning of the audit procedures that can be reviewed prior to their performance. Okay, so that is its benefit. What is the benefit of audit documentation? A record of significant changes to the overall audit strategy and audit plan and resulting changes to the again the same thing, that whatever changes have been made, these will also be recorded, so that at later stage, uh, it can be shown that these new things have come to the knowledge of auditor, which have prompted the auditor to to modify strategy and plans. Okay. Now, Ramachandra, you are asking who will verify whether documentation made by auditor is correct or not. Now, this depends upon where the matter lands. Say the Ramachandra auditor has given his report. Okay. Later on, some say investigation takes place under Companies Act. Say government has appointed some investigator due to certain complaints. Okay, then such things arise. Otherwise, also in case of certain class of companies, there is authority called NAFRA, which has been constituted, National Financial Reporting Authority, which has been constituted some time back, 3-4 years back. So in case of audit reports of big companies, it reviews how the audit was carried out, and it asks the information from the auditor. It calls the audit documentation from the auditor. How you arrived at those conclusions? Show us the audit documentation. How you arrived at this conclusion that this amount is not misstated. Similarly, there is a quality review board also at ICI, so which reviews the quality of audit reports. So all these things you would be learning in your CA final. Okay. So is Ramachandra clear to you? Yes. So audit documentation is clear to you guys. Now we come to next topic, that is audit program. So what is audit program, students? So audit strategy भी बन गई, audit plan भी बन गई. प्लान में ऑडिटर ने ये डिसाइड कर लिया कि क्या क्या रिस्क असेसमेंट प्रोसीजर्स और क्या क्या दूसरे ऑडिट प्रोसीजर्स उसको परफॉर्म करने हैं, उनकी नेचर, टाइमिंग और एक्सटेंट क्या है, कौन से प्रोसीजर्स अडॉप्ट करने हैं, किस टाइम पे करने हैं और कितने करने हैं, नेचर, टाइम एंड एक्सटेंट. लेकिन एक्चुअली क्या करना है वो आएगा आपके ऑडिट प्रोग्राम में. सो व्हाट इज ऑडिट प्रोग्राम? Audit program is a series of verification procedures to be applied to the financial statements and accounts of the company for the purpose of obtaining evidence to enable the auditor to express an opinion. Say the auditor wants to verify sales of the company. So in audit plan, he would be jotting down nature, timing and extent of the procedures. Now audit program contains detailed verification procedures like sales में चेक, कितने इनवॉइसेस चेक करने हैं, क्या बेसिस है उसका, check sales from GST portal, check so much invoices for a month from the from the from the sale bills. Okay, so trace few transactions of sales in the stock records. क्या वो माल जो सेल में बुक हुआ है क्या वो फैक्ट्री से भी मूव आउट हो गया है? थे और वेरीफाई ई-वे बिल्स, चेक ई-वे बिल्स फ्रॉम द ई-वे बिल साइट that whether those goods have moved out of the factory or not. So ये सब चीजें जो हैं ये ऑडिट प्रोग्राम का पार्ट होंगी जो कि ऑडिटर प्रिपेयर करता है, प्रिंसिपल प्रिपेयर करता है और जो एंगेजमेंट टीम के मेंबर्स हैं, जो स्टाफ हैं, जो डिटेल्ड चेकिंग कर रहे हैं वो उसको फॉलो करते हैं. ओके, सो इज दैट क्लियर? Yes, Mohammed, there are quality standards also, SQC1, standard on quality control. This you have already got an outline of it in chapter 1. So guys, you understand what is audit program? Audit program consists of a series of, एक नहीं series, एक audit program consists of a series of verification procedures to be applied to the financial statements and accounts of the company, which are to be applied to the financial statements which have been put up before the auditor for audit. Okay, for the purpose of obtaining audit evidence to enable the auditor to express an opinion. Again, सारी चीजें होके किस पे आके टिकती हैं? ओपिनियन ऑफ द ऑडिटर. और जो आपको मैंने बेसिक फंडा स्टूडेंट्स बताया था पिछले लेक्चर में कि सब चीजों का ऑडिट एविडेंस ऑडिटर कैसे ऑब्टेन करेगा? बाय परफॉर्मिंग ऑडिट प्रोसीजर्स. और ऑडिट एविडेंस से वो कुछ कंक्लूजन डेराइव करेगा जिसके बेसिस पे अल्टीमेटली क्या बनेगा उसका? ओपिनियन. एंड दैट ओपिनियन वुड बी एक्सप्रेस्ड थ्रू द मीडियम ऑफ ऑडिट रिपोर्ट. ओके, सो जो प्रोसीजर्स, डिटेल्ड प्रोसीजर करने हैं किसी भी फाइनेंशियल स्टेटमेंट की आइटम का एसर्शन को चेक करना है जो मैनेजमेंट फाइनेंशियल स्टेटमेंट में दे रही है, तो वो कैसे होगा? देयर हैज टू बी ए डिटेल्ड ऑडिट प्रोग्राम दैट दिस थिंग हैज टू बी चेक्ड एंड हाउ मच चेकिंग इज टू बी डन एंड हु वुड चेक इट. सपोज टीम में 5 या 10 मेंबर हैं, सो हु वुड कैरी आउट दिस एक्सरसाइज सो दैट रिस्पॉन्सिबिलिटी कैन बी फिक्स्ड. अल्टीमेटली किसी चीज के बारे में कोई कंफ्यूजन है या कोई प्रोसीजर ठीक से परफॉर्म नहीं किया गया या ठीक परफॉर्म किया गया तो किसने किया ये भी ऑडिट प्रोग्राम में लिखा जाएगा. इट इज मार्क्ड दैट हु इज गोइंग टू परफॉर्म दिस प्रोसीजर सो दैट अकाउंटेबिलिटी एंड रिस्पॉन्सिबिलिटी कैन बी फिक्स्ड. Yes, Tanisha, you are asking, is audit report different from audit documentation? Yes, definitely. Audit report is the final outcome, final end product of the you can say of the audit process, and audit documentation are the working papers which are used to obtain that audit report. Okay, so ultimate the final thing which is there after conducting audit is the audit report. How did auditor reach the audit report? How did auditor arrive at the opinion which is expressed in audit report? this is shown through the audit documentation. Is it clear to you, Tanisha? So, in other words, audit program is a detailed plan of applying the audit procedures for accomplishing the audit objectives. So, next thing is now yes, Ramachandra, you are saying it correctly. Evolving one audit program not practicable for all businesses. Whether it is, guys, now tell me whether it is possible to develop a standard one program for all type of business. No, it is not possible because say uh, say the requirements in case of a trading company would be different, requirements in case of a manufacturing company would be different. Within the manufacturing sector there are hundreds of industries, so each industry would have its different mode of operation. If each industry would have its different business model, each business is different. So similarly for service industry there would be different requirements, and also size differs. Suppose what audit procedures are to be performed in case of an MNC multinational company, or what procedures are to be performed in case of a medium sized company, these might substantially differ. So there are so many things, so it is not possible to construct a single audit program. Okay, so this is all what is written here, which I have told you. Now, Abdul, you have asked a good question. If all the information is recorded in audit program, what is the difference between audit program and audit documentation? You have to understand, Abdul, that audit program consists of different steps which are to be carried out by the engagement team to obtain audit evidence. Now, this is only one part of the audit process. Now, what evidence has been obtained through the by applying those audit procedures which are there in the audit program, whether this evidence is sufficient and appropriate, whether it has to be relied upon or not, whether how this evidence is to be evaluated, how this has to be assessed, what conclusions can be drawn from this evidence. Now, this is not there in the audit program. So, what evidence was obtained, and how what conclusions were arrived on the basis of that evidence? These things are all part of audit documentation, but these may not be part of audit program. Is it clear? Now, Jyoti and Mariam, you are saying no, no. What is the meaning? Mohammed, you are saying small scale business cannot afford to install audit systems. No, small business also there is audit is carried out, but the degree differs. The degree differs. Okay. So it is, you have to understand that it is not possible to evolve one audit program to all business under circumstances. सिर्फ यही है कि it becomes a necessity to specify in detail in the audit program the nature of work to be done so that no time will be wasted on matters not relevant to engagement. So what is the purpose of audit program? What is the idea behind audit program? What is the logic behind audit program? So guys, the purpose is that it is a document, it is a program which contains different steps which are to be applied to the financial statements of the company to obtain audit evidence. So what is the purpose? Its purpose is that it shows in detail what is to be carried out. It is its purpose, so that the relevant things are attended to, the relevant procedures are adopted, which give relevant audit evidence, and the time is not wasted, and only audit procedures are performed and audit evidence are obtained, which help the auditor in arriving at conclusions. Okay, so is that clear to you? The assistant engaged be encouraged to keep an open mind. Now, there would be a question to you. Suppose as part of your article training, you would be going to audit different companies, different organizations, students. So you would say कि हमें तो प्रिंसिपल ने ऑडिटर ने जो आपके बॉस हैं, they have handed out you an audit program. So where is our initiative? So they have already prepared the audit program. We have been asked to check this. We have been asked to verify these items. Suppose if we observe something, if we discover something, then what is its relevance? So guys, you have to understand that assistants performing the audit work, they have to keep an open mind. They have to keep an open mind. Suppose if something, when you would be going to audit a company and an audit program is there with you, and say you are checking fixed assets and some steps which are there in the audit program concerning those fixed assets, you are doing this, but simultaneously while performing those procedures you also observe something and it strikes to your mind that this thing is important. There could be a misstatement here, so you can tell the principal, you can give your feedback, so that if something is left out at the designing, at the time of formation of audit program, you can share your views, and accordingly the audit program can be updated, it can be modified, or if some irrelevant thing is there in the audit program, you can give your inputs and that can be skipped. Okay, so this way audit program is also sort of flexible. Okay, yes, Anish, audit program is these are series of steps to achieve whatever is there in the audit plan. Okay, so what procedures were planned, were described in the audit plan, audit program says how to achieve this. It involves different steps. Okay. So clear? So here, as experience is gained by actually carrying out the work, the program may be altered to take care of the situations which were left out originally, but are found relevant for the particular concern. Okay. Or if the some work is irrelevant, that may be dropped. So is that clear? So the assistant engaged in the job should be encouraged to keep an open mind beyond the program given to him. So it is not that you cannot provide your inputs in view of your observations of at the time of actually performing the procedures. Okay, clear guys? And periodic review of the audit program. There should be periodic review of the audit program to assess whether the same continues to be adequate for obtaining the requisite knowledge and evidence. So again, the same thing, that if some new development has come to light, से आप ऑडिटर हैं किसी कंपनी के 2 साल से, ठीक है, तीसरे साल में कंपनी एक नई प्रोडक्ट लाइन में है, आप जो है पुराना ऑडिट प्रोग्राम यूज कर रहे हैं, आपने उसको रिव्यू ही नहीं किया, ऑडिटर ने उसको रिव्यू ही नहीं किया, तो वो जो नई प्रोडक्ट लाइन है उसके बारे में चेक क्या करेगा? सो देयरफॉर periodic review of the audit program has to be undertaken. Otherwise, what will happen? That whole effectiveness of the audit process would be compromised and the audit quality would be very poor, and auditor may be held liable for performing his work negligently, not in accordance with professional skills required from him, not in accordance with standards on auditing. Okay. So the utility of the audit program can be retained and enhanced by keeping the program as also the client's operation and internal control under periodic review. उसको it should be reviewed. It should be reviewed. ठीक है? And so long as the program is not officially changed by the principal, every assistant should carry out the detailed work according to the instructions. But जो मैंने स्टूडेंट्स पहले बात आपको समझाई है कि आप कहोगे कि वो ऐसे करने से तो प्रोग्राम रिजिड बन गया, वॉट एवर वी सी इट हैज गॉट नो वैल्यू, लेकिन ऐसा नहीं है. यू कैन a periodic review is undertaken to keep the program up to date as possible, and you should observe the various accounting functions of the client, and you can give your feedback to the principal, and audit program can be modified accordingly. So is that clear to you guys? Is that clear? So guys, would you before we move further, would you like to see an audit program? How does it look like? Would you like to see an audit program? Yes, guys. Would you like to see an audit program for a better understanding? How does it look like? So this is how an audit program can look like. Say audit program of Massa so and so, name of the company, which financial year, who has prepared it, who has reviewed it, and who has approved it. Okay. And now it contains nature of, it has got these columns: nature of procedure, extent of check, basis of sample collection, done by whom, who did it, which member of the team did it, like journal, understand accounting system of the firm, type of software, and list of books of accounts. Now you would write here that what books of accounts are maintained by the client, which software it is using, okay, and who has checked it. His name would be written. Like say in case of fixed assets, these are the detailed procedures. Say verify opening balances of fixed assets from previous. Opening balance check करिए. Extent of checking might be written 100%. आपको सारे ही चेक करने हैं. Basis of sample collection अगर कोई है तो, और किसने चेक किया, who checked it. Verify addition to the fixed assets if any made during the year. Verify sales or deletion from fixed assets. Verify arithmetical accuracy. जो फाइनेंशियल स्टेटमेंट्स में शेड्यूल ऑफ फिक्स्ड एसेट्स है, वेदर इट इज अर्थमेटिकली करेक्ट और नॉट. दिस इज पार्ट ऑफ द one of the instructions given to you in the audit program. So you have to check it. Verify title deeds of land. Say land is appearing in the financial statements of the concern which you are auditing. So you have to check title deed of the land, so that the land is in the name of the concern, land is in the name of the company. Title deed, guys, you understand? The ownership document on the basis of which the ownership of the land is proved. Say if I own a house, then I need to have some documents proving my ownership. Okay, like I need to have a title deed, registration deed, or say allotment letter, like these kind of things. Verify fixed assets from fixed assets register and seek letter from management that these were physically verified. Like say you have primary responsibility of verification of fixed assets, or say even inventory. This is of the management, because the management is responsible for preparation of financial statements, and it is the responsibility of the management to see that there is no misappropriation of assets. So obviously you would say that show me where you have whether you have verified your fixed assets even once during the year. What is the record? Show me the record of physical verification. Who carried out those physical verification? Okay. So Ramachandra, I have already answered your question. Yes, goodwill, all the things can appear in this. Verify calculation of depreciation in accordance with income tax rules, or say depreciation in accordance with the Companies Act. Similarly, in case of inventories, examine stock records maintained in Tally software. Like here, we assume that the company is using Tally software. So whether what are the stock records? Trace entries from stock records to purchase and sale account and correlate. Now here there is one column, extent of sample, extent of checking. Now here it would be written कितनी checking आपको करनी है. Say 50%, 20%, 30%, because it would not be possible for you to check every entry. So the audit program is prompting you to trace some entries from stock records to purchase account and to sale account. So every in would be recorded, every in the stock record would be recorded in the purchase account also, and every out from stock records would be recorded in the sales account. Okay, and also correlate with source data. Source data means the entries which you are checking, also verify these from the purchase and sales invoices. Okay. Examine if physical verification was conducted during, if the management has conducted physical verification. So all the things that you have to understand, that a responsibility of preparation of financial statements is that of the management. So the primary responsibility of physical verification is also of the management. This you have to understand. The auditor has to see whether management has verified the inventories during the year or not. Besides, at the year end, he would also be making a verification of the inventories, which is required as per standards on auditing. Okay. So similar things in respect of inventories. There are many points, like say in case of debtors. Now, what debtors, there is a schedule of debtors in the financial statements. Now, first thing would be to tally that schedule with the books of accounts. Okay. Trace few sale bills directly into debtors accounts. Whatever sale is there, it must be debited to the account of the debtor. So these kind of things. So similarly, there is all the verification steps have also to be undertaken in respect of expenditure and income items like sales. Vouch few sales invoices from copies available. Trace invoices into the accounts book. Now, one thing is you are checking invoices and also tracing it in the books of accounts. Trace few invoices with the e-way bills generated. Now, after GST was made applicable in 2017, now if you make an invoice, if you make a sales invoice of rupees 50,000 or more than 50,000, then an e-way bill has to be generated. On the e-way bill portal, there is a dedicated portal, so that when the goods move out of the factory, there is an electronic record which is called as e-way bill. You would be studying about it in your GST law clauses. So these kind of things. Similarly, in respect of purchases. So the purpose of showing you this program is to, this audit program is to make the things clear to you. Okay, is to give you an idea how does an audit program look like, so that you can gain a better understanding. So that you can gain a better understanding. So was it useful, guys? Was it useful to you? Please let me know. Was it useful to you guys? Please let me know. You gained a better understanding by studying an audit program. It cleared to you many things. What is the meaning of audit program? What does it contain? What is its benefit? How it looks like? Yes, Tracy is asking to upload the audit program. Yes, Tracy, I can upload it. There is no issue. But you have to understand that this is for your reference. This is for your reference, for helping you understand the things in a better way. I'll upload before next lecture. There is no issue in it. Now constructing an audit program. Now what things have to be factored in? What things have to be kept in mind by an auditor while constructing an audit program? Constructing means devising while preparing. So the audit planning commences at the conclusion of previous audit, and along with related program, it should be considered for modification as the audit progresses. So audit guys, as you understand that in many cases it would be recurring process coming after year. So जैसे ही पिछले साल का ऑडिट खत्म हुआ, अगले साल का काम स्टार्ट हो गया. So the auditor would be having a base with him. Previous audit program would be available with him. So it is updated, it is modified, keeping in view what new developments have taken place, what is auditor's assessment of risk. Okay. So these things have to be kept in mind while constructing, while preparing, while developing an audit program. Now, Muhammad Aslam, you are asking, is auditing pronouncement books a part of C intermediate syllabus? It is given to you. And at the intermediate level, whatever, guys, you have to understand, whatever you are reading it, whatever is in your module, it is in the context of standards on auditing. Now, chapter 1 was mainly what was there as per essay 200 broadly. Similarly, this chapter is in context of essay 300. Now, in next chapter, audit documentation and audit evidence, it covers other essays regarding audit evidence and other essays, essay 501, etc. Chapter 4 revolves around essay 315, identifying and assessing risk of material misstatements. So all these your chapters are essay based. So at these pronouncement book has been given to you to understand, to refer to it in case of confusion or for gaining a better understanding. If some point is not clear to you, if you want to study, you can gain the knowledge. Okay, but as such, you are not to cram those essays as such at the intermediate level. Okay, although questions would be asked from essays, questions would be essay based and also application based, but this would be all from what is there in the there in your study material as contained in modules. Okay. So guys, many of you are asking for yearning for break. So we will be taking a break for short break for 10 minutes. So guys, break for 10 minutes. Break for 10 minutes. Welcome back, students. So, guys, ऑडिट प्रोग्राम बनाते वक्त प्रिपेयर करते समय the the auditor may conclude that control system of the company, of the organization is not working in a satisfactory way, or he may conclude that it is working in a satisfactory way. So if the control system is working in an effective way, so obviously the auditor is going to develop his audit program accordingly. However, if the control system is not working efficient, if the auditor chooses not to place so much reliance on the control system, then the auditor may increase his level of checking, detailed checking, which is required to be undertaken. So these are all the factors which are taken into consideration by the auditor while devising an audit program. एंड कौन सा प्रोसीजर्स कब परफॉर्म करना है ये भी ऑडिटर के ऊपर डिपेंड करता है. कौन सा प्रोसीजर्स कब परफॉर्म करना है, उसकी फ्लेक्सिबिलिटी है, कब परफॉर्म करना है उसको, कौन सा प्रोसीजर ऑडिटर को, उसकी प्रोफेशनल जजमेंट का पार्ट है. लेकिन कुछ प्रोसीजर्स जैसे इन्वेंट्री चेकिंग है वो साल के आखिर में है, उसको ऑब्जर्व करना है कि इन्वेंट्री फिजिकली उसमें पार्टिसिपेट करना है या उसको कैश इन हैंड वेरीफाई करना है एज ए ईयर एंड, तो उसके बारे में कोई, वो तो उसको उसी डेट को करना है, कट ऑफ डेट को, उसकी कोई फ्लेक्सिबिलिटी नहीं है. अदर और चीजों की उसके लिए फ्लेक्सिबिलिटी है ऑडिट प्रोग्राम में. सो द फॉलोइंग पॉइंट शुड बी केप्ट इन माइंड. नंबर 1 is stay within the scope and limitation of the assignment. That the audit program should not be free for anything, free for all. ऐसा नहीं है. It means that it should be structured keeping in view the scope of the engagement, कि उसकी जो engagement है, appointment है, उसका scope क्या है, what he is supposed to do. क्या whether he has been appointed under Income Tax Act or Companies Act or some other law, or whether the client has appointed him voluntarily, whether some financial reporting framework is applicable to him. Okay, so all these kind of things have to be kept in mind by him before at the time of devising, at the time of preparing and constructing an audit program, so that audit is carried out effectively without wastage of resources, and the purpose for which the audit program is being devised, it is the same as the auditor is able to achieve that. Okay. Second thing is prepare a written audit program. Now this we have already seen. The audit program has to be written. You have already seen a sample audit program of a concern. Now what does it contain? The audit program contains the procedures. It contains the procedures that are needed to implement the audit plan. So simple. So guys, these things are very general, simple, but you have to understand these from the context of auditing. You have to understand in the language of auditing. Okay. Determine the evidence reasonably available and identify the best evidence. Now, किसी भी एक चीज के लिए guys, there can be evidence from multiple sources, like sales. मैं सेल्स चेक कर रहा हूं तो सेल्स इनवॉइस से भी चेक हो रही है, सेल्स टोटल सेल्स जीएसटी पोर्टल से भी चेक हो रही है, मंथली सेल्स भी जीएसटी पोर्टल से चेक हो रही है. एक इनवॉइस सेल्स का मेरे बुक्स ऑफ अकाउंट्स में है तो क्या मेरी सेल्स रिटर्न में गया है नहीं, वो भी मेरे को ऑनलाइन पता चल रहा है। ठीक है, तो कौन सा एविडेंस बेस्ड है वो ऑडिटर डिसाइड करेगा और उसके प्रोसीजर्स अकॉर्डिंगली ऑडिट प्रोग्राम में जो लिखे जाएंगे वो उसके अकॉर्डिंग होंगे। तो जनरली ऑडिटर जो है एक सोर्स ऑफ एविडेंस पे रिलाई नहीं करता, वो कई सोर्सेज पे रिलाई करता है और उसके बाद में वो असेस करता है कि भैया ये जो एविडेंस है ये वेदर इट इज sufficient and appropriate or not. Apply only those steps and procedures which were useful in accomplishing the verification purpose. Irrelevant procedure से audit program में बचना चाहिए because these would make the program too bulky and the auditor would gather information which is not relevant for the audit. So audit program should contain only those procedures which are relevant. Okay. Include the audit objectives for each area and sufficient details. Complete clear instructions for the assistant involved so that assistants do not have any confusion and the control of work performed by assistants is also there. So the audit program should contain a clear set of instructions. Okay. Consider all possibilities of error and coordinate the procedure. Coordination is also important. All things have to be coordinated. So there is this image is there showing the different steps, which different factors which have to be kept in mind. General things, but you have to remember. General things, but you have to remember that these are the 5-6 main points which the auditor keeps in mind while constructing a program. Again, at the cost of repeating it, like he has to keep in mind that he stays within the scope of the engagement and limitation of the engagement. Now, audit program has to be written. Obviously, it is a document, it has to be written. It should contain the procedures which are needed to implement the audit plan. Now, it should contain clear set of instructions for the assistants. Okay, the auditor should determine the what is the best evidence available, and his procedures should be geared towards that, and audit program has to be formulated keeping in view that. Other things like coordination and consideration of possibilities of all kinds of error. Okay. So guys, now what is we had studied at the beginning, what was the purpose of audit program? Audit program का purpose क्या है? Guys, to obtain audit evidence. Ultimate purpose क्या है? To obtain audit evidence जिससे कि auditor अपने conclusions पे arrive कर सके. So what is the audit evidence? Audit evidence is the information used by the auditor to arrive at the conclusions on which auditor's opinion is based. So audit evidence includes both information contained in accounting records and other information. Guys, you have to understand that audit evidence does not mean only the information available in the client's accounting records. It can be from other sources also. Like when the auditor calls for external confirmation from the debtors, from the persons, from the entities to whom the company has made sales, then he is confirming this information which is appearing in the accounting records from a third party. Okay. So, but the ultimate document, the ultimate confirmation on which he would be relying on which the basis of which he would be forming an opinion would be is a third party document. Okay. So evidence is the very basis for formulation of an opinion, and audit program is designed to provide for that by prescribing procedures or techniques. So the ultimate क्या है कि ऑडिट प्रोग्राम में इंस्ट्रक्शंस हैं कि ये प्रोसीजर्स आपको कैसे करने हैं और उससे ऑडिट एविडेंस मिलेगा और जिससे ऑडिटर अपना कंक्लूजन अराइव करके अपना ओपिनियन बना पाएगा. ओके. So here one example is given, like guys, sales are evidenced by, it can be evidenced from many things, like invoices raised by the client. It is the one example of sales, like I have told you. And inventory should records, like say if some sale has taken place, then it must be reduced from the finished goods inventories. If it is of the it is of the sale of the finished goods item, then it must be reduced from the finished goods inventories. Okay. Or I have given you an example of e-way bill. It also shows that goods have moved out of the factory. Okay. Price lists also reflect support the rates charged in the invoices, the rates charged in the sales invoices. Okay. So collection of money against sales by the client. अगर मैंने सेल्स की है तो उसकी पेमेंट भी आई होगी. So it is another proof that payment वैसे तो नहीं आ रही, some sale has taken place, that is why payment has come. So the auditor picks up evidence from a variety of fields, and it can be a documentary evidence, documentary examination, like say sales invoice. It is a document. When I check this is in my hand a documentary examination. Physical examination, किसी चीज को physically देखना. Statement and explanation of management. Say if something is not clear to me and I am asking from the management, I am asking from the employees, explain to me this thing, or they have given, the management has given certain representation relating to something, then it is an evidence, another form of evidence. Statement and explanation of third parties, like I have told you, third party confirmations. Third party confirmations. These are or external confirmations. These are also form of evidence, audit evidence. External confirmation received. Okay. So arithmetical calculations made by the auditor. So the auditor may be using recalculating the some of the calculations which are there in the documents of the client. Like for a sample, the auditor might test check the calculation of one invoice in every month. Okay, so that the invoice is error free. Say that invoices are generated by a software. Sales invoices are generated by software. So if there is a some error in software, then it may so happen that there are mistakes in all the invoices. So the auditor may recheck, may recalculate the calculations of one sales invoice of a month. Okay. State of internal controls and internal checks. This is also very important कि internal control जो है उसका client का कैसा है. whether the auditor is satisfied with the internal control or not. So if the auditor is satisfied, then detailed checking, level of his detailed checking would be low. If he is not satisfied, if he is less than reasonably satisfied, then he would increase his level of checking. Okay, so such kind of things. So is that clear to you guys? Now, what are the advantages and disadvantages of audit program? So general thing, what is the advantage? What are the advantages of audit program? It provides the assistant carrying out the audit with a clear set of instructions. What is to be done? It provides a clear set of instructions. Okay. So for larger audits, major audits, it is a must because it shows how the audit was performed and it contains a total perspective of what work was performed and how it was performed and who performed it. Okay, so that is the importance of audit program. Now selection of assistants for jobs becomes easier. So when the work is planned, so I know what is the complex areas, what are the simpler areas. So I can plan my work and depute my assistants, depute my staff, depute my resources accordingly. Say if I do not plan, if there is no audit program, so I would not be able to select to whom to assign this area. Say if I am having an experienced person in my audit team, in my engagement team, then definitely I would be putting his services to the to more complex works. Okay, so it would help me in performing the audit in a better way. Okay. So, and another thing, without a written program, all thing is in our mind only. It is only in our mental plan. It is not written. It is only in our imagination. We will do this, we will do this, I will do this. But there is no clear set of instructions. So what is the utility of audit program? It brings into the table clear set of the instructions which are to be followed while checking, while verifying, while performing audit procedures. Okay. The assistants, by putting their signatures on program, accept the responsibility of work. This I have already told you. Like I had shown you the audit program, guys. So there was a column there done by whom? Who performed this procedure? Now, so that if eventually there is some mistake, so it can be traced back to the person who had carried out that procedure. तो उसको पकड़ेगा उसका बॉस कि भैया आपने गलत किया है. Okay, clear. So the principal can control the progress of various audits by examination of audit program. Obviously, it is a tool in planning, so he can control the progress, how the audit is progressing. Future audit जो अगले साल होने हैं उसका बेस बन जाता है. It serves as a guide for audits to be carried out in succeeding years. Okay, and not the least, very important. Now, Abdul, you are saying done by column. So it was to show you how an audit program is devised. Obviously, names are to be there. A properly drawn up audit program serves as evidence कि अगर बाद में it is alleged that the auditor has not performed his work professionally, not in accordance with standards on auditing, then audit program is a proof It is the evidence of the performance of the audit work. That audit was properly planned and carried out by doing these things, by carrying out doing these steps. So herein lies the importance of audit program. That is very important. And what could be the disadvantages of audit program? What could be? So everything has got its plus and minus. So what could be the disadvantages of audit program? So one advantage could be disadvantage. Sorry, it could be that work becomes too mechanical. Too mechanical. But this disadvantage can be overcome by getting feedback from the article clerks, from the assistants, and maintaining a flexibility and updating the audit program. Okay. So this B point is also more or less similar to this. And C point, inefficient assistants may take shelter behind the program. Yes, very important. इसको तुम स्टूडेंट्स लोग आप ध्यान दे समझिए. If some article clerk is inefficient, if you go to audit and you are inefficient, you are not doing the work properly, so you have not done the work properly, you would take shelter behind the audit program. If there is some mistake discovered in, you would say, सर ऑडिट प्रोग्राम में तो ये था ही नहीं, इसलिए हमने चेक ही नहीं किया. So that is another way of hiding behind the audit program. Hiding in the guise of audit program. Some inefficient article clerks may take shelter of the behind the program. Okay, so this is also one of the disadvantages of audit program. And a hard and fast standard program may kill initiative. अगर कोई अच्छे स्टूडेंट्स हैं, अच्छे आर्टिकल क्लर्क्स हैं, दे आर initiative, it would kill their initiative. It would kill their initiative because they would think it is too standardized. We have been given a so long sheet of paper and we have to do everything according to these steps, and we are not going to apply our own mind. So this thing you have to remember, guys. Although you are given an audit program at the time of audit, but it does not stop you from applying your own mind. It in no way stops you. If you observe something, if some fact comes to your notice, or if you see that it is not in the audit program, you can bring it to the knowledge of the principal, and the audit program can be modified by taking into account your inputs. So again, all these disadvantages can be eliminated by imaginative supervision of work and the auditor's attitude. The auditor has also to be receptive and patient to the feedback given by the assistants. Okay, so simple. Now, quality control for audit work. Obviously, the audit has to be performed by the assistants. And again, guys, you have to keep in mind that the auditor delegates work, but he doesn't delegate the responsibility. So the auditor remains responsible. जिसके सिग्नेचर होने हैं, the auditor remains responsible. So ultimately, signatures have to be of the auditor. He has to express the opinion. So he should carefully direct, supervise, and review the work delegated to assistants so that the audit is performed in a qualitative manner, so that quality of audit is not compromised. Quality of audit is not compromised, and all quality control procedures which are there as per SA 220 are followed. Okay. Otherwise, in absence of it, if the auditor does not properly direct his team effort, does not properly supervise his team effort, then quality of audit would be compromised and he may be ultimately held liable for negligence. Okay, guys. So is that clear to you? So, guys, are you in a mood to do some questions? So, guys, are you in a mood to do some questions? So, we shall be doing some questions. Correct, incorrect type. Let us see what you have understood. Students, in the papers, in your exam, the 70-mark descriptive type of question, first question is compulsory. Question number 1 is compulsory. It contains some statements which you have to answer whether these are correct or incorrect along with reason. So here important thing is that you have also to give reason. These statements are of 2 marks each. Okay, 7 statements are there, 2 into 7, 14 marks, I think. So while answering this question, you have also to give proper reason. The reason may be of 1, 2, 3 lines. So unless and until you write reason, why do you think that this statement is correct or incorrect, you will not be given any credit in the exam. You would be given 0 mark. So that you have to remember. Okay, so now question number 1 is you have to state whether this statement is correct or incorrect with reason. Just write in short in the mails. You can in short write 1 line. Whether this statement is correct or incorrect. Audit program is a written program setting forth the procedures that are needed to implement the audit plan. Now whether it is correct or incorrect. Audit program is a written program setting forth the procedures that are needed to implement the audit plan. Is it correct or incorrect? Yes, few answers have come. Few answers have come. What about others? Abdul, Muhammad Islam, Anish Oja, Jyoti Jha, Adarsh, Pranav Vashishtha, Harshita, Ramachandra, Rohit. There is a student, I think Purushot or he has mailed 3 times Guy, if you are listening, you are saying you have some doubt, but you are not saying what is the doubt. Please send your mail. What is the doubt? I will clarify. Komal Seni, yes. What about others, guys? Only 10, 12 mails have come. I think more than this number are logged in. What about others? Yes, this statement is correct. So you have to write the answer. The above statement is correct because audit program contains the procedures which are needed to implement the audit plan. It is a series of instructions or verification procedures to implement the audit plan. Okay. Now we come to question number 2. No element of audit plan should ever be discussed with management in order to ensure surprise factor. Now tell whether this statement is correct or incorrect. No element of audit plan should ever be discussed with management in order to ensure surprise factor. Three, four mails have come. Not Mohammed, Hassan Sari, Harshita, Adarsh, Nagaraju G. No element of audit plan should ever be discussed with management in order to ensure surprise factor. So what does the statement say? It says that nothing in the audit plan should be discussed with management, because if you discuss something with management, then surprise factor which is there, it is lost. So this statement is, whether it is correct or incorrect. Yes, most of you have understood it rightly. This statement is incorrect. Why? Because some element of audit plan can be discussed with management. The auditor can discuss some elements of audit plan with management to seek their cooperation, which do not compromise the effectiveness of audit. Okay. Now third, overall audit strategy and detailed audit plan. Two things are there. Now read the question carefully. Overall audit strategy and detailed audit plan are always distinct processes following well-defined sequence. Now what should be the answer, guys? Tell me. Question number 3. So guys, whenever you are sending answers, because some mails are coming with a time lag, please do write question number also. Yes, Mohammed, these questions are of 2 marks. Overall audit strategy and detailed audit plan are always distinct processes following well-defined sequence. Few mails have come now. 5, 6 mails. Harshita, Abdul, Adarsh, Mohammad Aslam, Jyoti Jha. Yes, guys, please send your bills. Overall audit strategy and detailed audit plan are always distinct processes following well-defined sequence. So guys, when you are attempting these questions, correct, incorrect, just try to read between the lines. Read the statement carefully. Read the statement carefully. Now, guys, many of you have written that this statement is correct, but this statement is incorrect. How this statement is incorrect, now we will discuss it. Audit strategy or audit plan, distinct processes तो है, लेकिन the word क्या है? Are always distinct processes. These are not always distinct processes. Following well-defined sequence. We had studied in our last class that audit plan and audit strategy are not necessarily discrete processes. Discrete तो है, दो अलग अलग प्रोसेस हैं, लेकिन हर बार नेसेसरली ऐसा नहीं है. क्यों? बिकॉज दीज आर इंटररिलेटेड. इफ देयर इज सम चेंज इन audit plan, it would lead to change in audit strategy. Then how they can be termed as having a sequential nature कि उसके बाद वो आएगा. Sequential का मतलब होता है कि दो के बाद तीन के बाद चार आएगा. This is a sequence. But although first audit strategy is prepared, then audit plan is made, but it is not so always. The word is always. These are not necessarily distinct processes having a well-defined sequence. Change in one can lead to change in another. अगर ऑडिट प्लान में चेंज होके ऑडिट स्ट्रेटजी में चेंज हो गया तो सीक्वेंस कहां से रही? So guys, you understand why the answer to this question is incorrect. And I have also told you reason. We had studied that audit strategy and audit plan are not necessarily, the word was necessarily, are not necessarily discrete, distinct processes, and these are not sequential always. Okay. Have you understood? Have you understood this statement, guys? Because I think 50% of you have given the wrong answer. Yes, Muhammad, if you have given the correct answer, it's okay. And look, when you are giving the reason, try to give the reason in complete respect. When you would be writing in paper, do not write half the answer, because if you touch one aspect and leave another aspect, then your 1 mark might be deducted. So like Muhammad, you are writing false. This is correct. This statement is false. But you are stating both are not always distinct. This part is also correct. But you have left out the information regarding well-defined sequence. So the question, the intention of the examiner is to prompt you to explain both the things. So you should write that the statement is incorrect. The statement is false because audit strategy and audit plan are not necessarily at all times separate processes, because change in one can lead to change in another. Okay, hence these do not always follow a well defined sequence. Okay, is it clear to you, Muhammad Aslam? Harshita and Jyoti, yes, you are saying that you have also understood. Any doubts about this statement, guys? Any doubts? Now we come to number 4. Planning an audit also involves understanding company's internal control procedure. Planning an audit also involves understanding company's internal control procedure. Audit स्टेटमेंट ये पूछ रही है कि जब ऑडिट प्लान होता है तो कंपनी के इंटरनल कंट्रोल प्रोसीजर की भी अंडरस्टैंडिंग करना उसका पार्ट है, वेदर इट इज करेक्ट और इनकरेक्ट, वेदर इट इज करेक्ट और इनकरेक्ट. Yes, few mails. Planning an audit involves understanding. Now, what the question is asking? The question is asking, planning an audit involves understanding company's internal control procedures. Now, I had told you, now what is the answer of this statement? First of all, this statement is correct. I told you that planning an audit is important, that it involves understanding client's internal control procedures. So what are internal control procedures? Internal control procedures are procedures which ensure that business of the client is conducted efficiently and effectively. These are devised by the management. So here you have to explain it that this statement is correct because planning definitely involves gaining a knowledge of the client's procedures, of how business is being carried out, of how its internal control procedures, its systems of checks and balances is being carried out. It is crucial, it is vital to planning the audit. Okay. So just 2-3 lines would be, just 2 lines, 3 lines would be sufficient. This statement is correct, and almost all of you have answered it correctly. Number 5. Audit program once formulated for a year should not be changed. Now, what is the answer? Audit program once formulated for a year should not be changed. Yes, guys, waiting for your answers. Please send your mail. So simple, damn simple. Audit program once formulated for a year should not be changed. Whether this statement is correct or incorrect. Some mails have come. Kanchan, Abdul, Rohit, Gayatri, Jyoti, Rekha, Komal, Balaji. So what should be the answer, guys? This statement is incorrect. So almost all of you are writing it properly. That once an audit program has been formulated for a year, it can be changed because due to change in circumstances or due to some new information coming to the light of auditor, uh, it it can be changed. It is not rigid. It is flexible. Okay. So I think, guys, you have got a fair understanding of the of the what we have studied till now. So, guys, today we have done we have understood that audit preparation of audit strategy and audit plan is the responsibility of the auditor. However, the auditor can discuss some elements of his planning with the management to seek their cooperation. But in this process, the effectiveness of his audit cannot be compromised. He should not divulge, he should not disclose any information which is part of the planning, the disclosure of which compromises the quality or effectiveness of the audit, because ultimately he is responsible for expressing the opinion on financial statements, and if by disclosure of some information the quality of his audit is compromised or the effectiveness of the audit is compromised, then he is himself to blame. Then he would be held guilty for negligence. The purpose of sharing some elements of his planning with the management is only to carry out his work smoothly and to make the management aware the broad sort of verification he has to undertake, but he need not divulge or disclose detailed procedures to the management. Okay. And the audit strategy and audit plan, these have to be documented by the auditor. This you have to remember. These have to be documented by the auditor. And if there is any change to audit strategy and audit plan, then this has also to be documented, because it serves as a proof that audit was properly planned and those procedures were in fact planned to be carried out. Okay, guys, and we have also understood what is the meaning of audit program? That audit program is a series of verification steps which are carried out to obtain audit evidence, so that these audit evidence can help the auditor in arriving at conclusions on the basis of which he can form his opinion. So audit program, we have understood, it has to be flexible. It should include um, any relevant information which has been given by the engagement team, and it should be modified accordingly if some information has come to light, new information has come to light, and the principle should not be rigid about it. And also the audit program fixes the responsibility of the various members of the engagement team. It shows, it contains records which work was performed by whom. It fixes the accountability, and it is a set of written instructions which this is the main thing which you have to remember. And it contains detailed procedure, extent of checking, how and who performed the work, and what was the basis for selecting the sample if samples have been collected. Okay, and all the so-called disadvantages of the audit program can be overcome by the auditor by keeping a flexible attitude, and by updating the audit program as the audit progresses. Okay, okay, students. So, any doubts? Any doubts, guys? Any doubts, guys? Yeah, Varun, you are asking what elements should discuss, the auditor can discuss with management. I have already given examples that auditor can share broad procedures, like he would say, we would check how your system of internal controls regarding sales is operating. He can share this because it is part of the audit to check the internal control. Now, under internal control of sales, what particular steps, what specific procedures the auditor would be checking, from whether he would be checking each invoice, or whether he would be making a sample, or what would be the basis of taking a sample, or whether he would be checking invoice for 1 month or few days or near the end of the financial year. These need not be disclosed to the management. Okay. Now, Aftab Sheikh, you are asking how will the auditor deal with fraud? So, Aftab, keep patience. There is a complete chapter on frauds, and name of chapter is chapter 5, frauds and responsibility of auditor in this regard. So, you would be studying about all kind of frauds and what are the responsibilities of auditor. How does an auditor deal with the fraud? What are his responsibilities? What are his reporting responsibilities? All things would be covered in chapter 5. Okay, guys. So I think you have understood the contents. So this is over for today. Okay, guys. Thank you. Thank you so much. Good night to all of you. Okay, guys. Thank you. Yes, yes.